My name is Elijah Brooks, and I'm the running back coach at the University of Maryland. Today, we'll be talking about the running back progressions in the run game, pass game, and the receiving game. All of the running backs who've come through Maryland have had to focus on these areas of progression. We have Anthony McFarland, who I coached in high school, who attended the University of Maryland, who was an all Big Ten performer, got drafted 4th round by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jake Funk also had a successful career. He went on to get drafted in the 7th round by the Los Angeles Rams. Since I've been there, we've had many guys who've played at a high level. Javon Leake, he was an all Big Ten performer. He is now in the CFL. We talked about Jake Funk, who led the nation in yards per carry in 2020. And each year since, we've had a lot of success with running backs who followed this progression and have done a great job with this, okay? Roman Hemby was a freshman All-American who did a fantastic job. We're going to start with the run game, okay? And what we do is we start with stance and starts. And we do it from 3 different positions: quarterback under center, pistol, and gun. In each of those positions, the running back has different steps. Midline lead, open crossover balance for our mid zones, lateral drop, open pivot on outside zones. And we work these as we begin to go through our run game. Some of the drills that we incorporate, we start with cone drills, and that's setting up cones 5 yards apart so that you can have all of your running backs working at the same time. The cones represent the quarterbacks, okay? And so if you're running out of the pistol formation, running backs will be 3 yards behind each cone. And depending on the play, if it's mid-zone and your steps are open crossover lead, you'll have 4 backs working through those steps at the same time, and then they'll run through the other cones which are 10 yards apart. And this way we are just able to see guys taking the correct steps with the right tempo, hitting their landmarks. Another thing we use is a line strip. And here these guys have a visible landmark. Some plays require our guys to hit inside leg of the tackle, outside leg of the guard. And this line strip allows these guys to have a visual cue to hit their mark. Surprisingly, many guys still don't know how to take the correct handoff. Sometimes their arm, the wrong arm is up. We like to tell them that we always want the quarterback to smell the running back's armpit. If the quarterback's on your right-hand side, your right arm needs to be up. That bottom arm, sometimes guys, their pockets are too wide or too narrow. We like that bottom arm to be at the belly button level and the top arm to be nipple area. I encourage my guys to show their palm so that you get a natural rise with your elbow. Sometimes if your palm is facing down, that elbow would drop, and many times that could lead to the ball hitting the elbow, which could force a fumble. We also want to make sure that our guys are allowing the quarterback to place the ball in the pocket and not reaching for the ball. That can raise the chances of you putting the ball on the ground. We'll do a walking exchange drill where we'll have our running backs in different lines, and we will change the tempo. One running back is serving as a quarterback, and he'll place the ball to the running back coming towards him. We'll make a correct pocket, make sure we clamp, roll over it, take a couple steps, and now he serves as the quarterback for the next guy. And this will continue, the pace will continue, just so guys are getting used to having a correct pocket. The name of the game is ball security. So after guys are taking the right steps, having the right pocket, now they must make sure they're protecting the ball the correct way. We talk about the 5 points of pressure: the claw, the palm, the forearm, the bicep, and the rib cage. We emphasize high and tight, wrist above elbow. And then when you're in traffic, we want to handcuff or double wrap the football so there's no areas in which the ball can come out. Many of the areas in which there's a high chance of fumbling, running through traffic, On explosive cuts, the ball can tend to get away from the body. Falling to the ground is when you see a lot of fumbles and when guys are fighting for extra yards. So these are areas in which we work on it. The drills, okay, we have explosive movement, cone drills, we work bags, falling fumble, a hit and roll technique, and a gauntlet, just to name a few. Here's an example of a bag drill, okay? As he's going over the bag, we want to make sure that he's cognizant of protecting it. The ball gets away from him here as he's thinking about making a move, and this is where we try to emphasize that focus of gripping tight. Whenever we are having any type of traffic around our feet, we want to have high knee drive, but we are still emphasizing wrist above elbow, protecting that ball. On explosive cuts, we want to make sure, again, that ball doesn't get away from our body, all right? And we are consistently just working the technique of isometric pressure against our body, making sure that our guys are focused on that. Here's a falling fumble drill. Every couple yards, our guys will hit the ground, and as they are going to the ground, we want to simulate pulling the ball out and making sure that these guys are protecting the ball through the ground. This is one of my favorite drills, and our guys don't necessarily like it, but it's something that they are aware of throughout the course of competition. Here's our blaster drill, in which guys are running and simulating, accelerating through traffic, finishing runs, double wrapping the football, and protecting it. Here's a couple in-game clips, all right, in which we're doing a great job here of double wrapping the football, protecting it. Excellent job there. Okay. Pass protection, okay. We have different areas that are of the utmost importance with pass protection, all right, and we'll get to it. The first thing we want to do is ID our responsibility. Who do we have? Once we know who we have, we want to close the distance on that defender. Then we want to protect the launch point, making sure that our quarterback has a sufficient pocket and we're working with our alignment with that pocket location. Then we want to strike, control, and mirror the defender, and then you will have to strain and finish to complete the block. Here are some of our drills. We have a close the distance drill, protect the launch point, mirror drill, 4-point standing strikes, backs on backers, linebackers, and then we have several cutting drills. Here's an example of our guys just knowing who we have. The line will always identify who they have. We have to have good eye discipline to know our responsibility and make sure we're getting to the right person. Next, we have a close the distance drill. I want the guys to get used to attacking the line of scrimmage. The bags are there to give a visual cue for our guys on where the linemen will be setting and how deep you need to get into the line of scrimmage, meeting the defender as close to the line as possible. Okay. We have our strike progression where we start with our 4-point strike against the bags. Okay, make sure we're striking, palms up, thumbs up. All right, getting our hips through. Here's another example. Making sure we get our head out of the block on the strike, and then we take it from a kneeled stance to a standing strike. And now all we're doing is we're bringing our feet with us in the progression. Here we have our backs on backers, where now we take it from a standing situation to a live situation with defenders. And we want to make sure we're attacking these defenders off the edge with a good leverage, making sure we're still trying to meet the defender as close to the line of scrimmage as possible. Head up, all right? We want to maintain inside leverage. We want to strike, and we want to have a good base and run the defender outside. Here are some in-game examples, all right, where we have a back who IDs his responsibility. He's doing a good job of attacking inside out. All right, he's striking with low pad level. All right, and he's striking with a good base, and he resets his hands to gain full control on this block, which is really a really good job by that back. Here's another example of our back now knowing that we don't have a linebacker in our responsibility, but he's now seeing there's a safety rotation, all right, by the strong safety as he's moving towards the hash. And he is going to do a really good job of meeting that defender, what we call in the trees. He is on the same plane as the offensive lineman. He's striking with a good base, hat in hands, and he does a really good job of protecting this blitz. Now we're going to touch on the receiving progression in our development. Catching the football is just as important as the run game and in pass protection. Here are the areas in which we work. We work releases, okay, from the backfield. Exterior and interior releases depending on the route. We often motion our guys out in the empty, so these guys need to have releasing skills and understanding how to run correct routes. Coverage recognition is important. The tempo in which we run our routes, attacking the leverage of defenders and the correct angles and depth on those routes, and then framing the football, whether it's over your shoulder, in front of you, or low. Here are some of the receiving drills that we do. Clean versus dirty release drills, being able to sift through traffic, making sure that you get out without losing speed. Your snow drill or your option drill, making sure that you can read man versus zone, learning how to turn in versus zone, turn out versus zone, when, push your depth, and when versus man. Routes on air, backs on backers, and then we have our stationary ball drills. Here's just an example of some routes on air, just getting our guys comfortable with the route tree, okay? You have arrows that we run, and you can never think that these routes are automatic. If you don't practice them daily, then you can't expect for your guys to make these plays in the game. So we do a really good job of all of our backs being able to run all of the routes so that if they have an opportunity, they'll be ready to execute them. Here's an example of our guys practicing double stemming versus man coverage. Okay, re-stemming on a physical backer who's trying to set the depth. All right. Here's an example of our guys doing a good job of just framing the football. Okay, above their waist, we want to have thumbs together. Below their waist, pinkies together. Okay, just again, working on these things so that when it comes to the game, these guys are doing a good job. Here are a couple in-game examples of guys doing a good job. Here's the arrow route that we just saw. Okay, very routine. All right, expanding with width, gaining the 3 yards, tracking the ball with good focus. Here's an example of an option route, okay, where our guy releases. Number 44, the backer has inside leverage, so he'll break out, all right, and then does a good job of getting more yards after the catch. Here's an example of our running back being in empty formation. So he is the number one receiver to the boundary. All right, he does a good job of restacking the defender. Now, this is a very difficult catch for a running back. All right, now I would like to see him do a better job of holding the red line, leaving the quarterback more room to catch the football, but he does a great job of tracking this ball over his head and having a big play offensively. Here's another example, again, of our running backs being able to do everything. Pass protect, run the football, and obviously catch the ball out of the backfield. Here's a wheel combination by our running back. Again, being able to catch explosive passes, have a big impact in the receiving game, and making a play down the field. Last example out of empty, our running back does a good job when he motions to the backfield of understanding whether it is man or zone coverage. And we'll use this rub by the receivers to get our head around quickly. We know that the ball is coming quickly. And again, another opportunity to get our running backs the ball in space. So in conclusion, this is the running back play and progression in the run game, pass game, and the receiving game at the University of Maryland. Thank you so much for your time.